everybody. This is Erin Reese, Head of Marketing for Spins. I'm here today with Aubre Tadmori, and she's with I and Love in You, a pet product organization, and she is the Director of Category and Shopper Insights. Welcome, Aubre.
Hi, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining. Let's get started today and talk a little bit about who you are, your history, and how you came to I and Love in You.
Sure. So I've been in the CPG space since 2007. I've been in the natural space for probably the last 10 or so years. And I've been with I and Love in You for almost 3 years now as the Director of Category and Shopper Insights. I've really grown my career through a lot of data type roles, starting in analyst roles, doing things both on the data vendor side as well as on the manufacturer side. And now my job is really to be the syndicated data expert and as well as lead all of our custom research at I and Love in You, and then help the organization digest and articulate the insights from that and then activate against them to help us grow and scale.
Wow, amazing role, much needed. So before we dig too much into your role, because I'm intrigued, let's talk a little bit about the company. If you could give us a little bit of background on the organization, how long it's been around, and your unique aspects in the market.
Yeah, the company was founded in 2012. We were founded to bring pet specialty quality pet food to across channels to the masses. So we wanted to make sure that people who were looking for high quality food for themselves could find high quality food for their pets in the stores they were already shopping in. So we have distribution in stores across the natural channel, across conventional grocery, and online. We really want to make sure that really high quality food for your pets is available where you're shopping for your food and where you're shopping at all. So we want to make sure that we're very accessible because we really believe that pets are people too. All of our food is real meat first ingredient, no artificial byproducts, no fillers. We make sure that all of our recipes are approved by a holistic veterinarian to really make sure that we're delivering on that quality message.
That's great. So where would you say you guys are in a growth, in your growth life cycle as a business?
Yeah, we're definitely in what I'd consider a scale-up phase, where we're past the startup phase. We're well established, we have national distribution, and we're really scaling up. We're not a mature company yet. We have lots of run rate, room for growth. And so I think a position like mine is a really important role for this part in our growth journey, where we can really learn and quickly activate on everything that we're learning to accelerate that growth even further.
Where do you guys focus your growth then? Is it on more distribution, getting into more retail locations? Is it in innovation, a little bit of both?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of both where we focus our growth. So we focus our growth on expanding distribution into areas where we're not today. We focus growth on accelerating velocities in the places we are. So once we get that distribution, we don't walk away from it. We definitely focus on continuing to grow that business, as well as coming out with new and exciting innovation products. So one of our exciting innovations last year is called Baked and Saucy, and it's a really interesting kibble that is baked and then coated in bone broth and can be served wet or dry. So we're trying to be really innovative in where we're found, but also the types of products we're bringing.
Terrific. And how are you identifying some of those things? I mean, and what is today's market telling you?
Today's market's a little tricky with everything going on right now. So a lot of the insights and a lot of the trends and a lot of the shopper behavior is really in an upheaval right now with all of the switching that's happening channel-wise and product-wise due to everyone staying home more due to COVID-19. So what we're seeing right now is just that people are really taking the time to spend more time with those important to them, including their pets. We really believe that pets are part of the family. So during this time where everyone's really enjoying more time with their family, they're really making more time for their pets too, which is really wonderful to see. You're seeing a large uptick in people fostering and adopting animals right now. And it's just a really good time for people to be growing their fur family.
That's for sure. The amount of puppies we have in our neighborhood right now is crazy. Uh, does, with all of those new pet parents, are you finding like education is something that your team needs to be doing?
I do think that education is a really great way to reach new consumers. I think that we are doing a really good job of reaching them with the product assortment that's right, but getting their attention with tips and tricks to make the transition to new puppy parenthood or kitten parenthood just that much easier. So we have puppy food and puppy kits available. We have a blog full of tips on ways to interact with your pet and ways to keep them healthy, ways to keep them fit and exercised. So we do a lot of, we really build a community and build a family with things like our blog, with our online Instagram and Facebook content, really reaching out to our new consumers and our current consumers to be a part of their story, to be a part of their family.
That's great. Getting back a little bit more to your role, I love the analytics. I love the data. So thinking about your role and thinking about this interview, I'm like, oh, she sits in the center of the company. So being the person who holds the key to the insights, how does that work within your organization, and how do you bring the information that you're learning to the other areas, and how does it differ from, say, a marketing conversation to a sales conversation to a C-suite conversation?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So my role specifically in this organization sits on the marketing team, though in past companies, this role could fit very nicely on the sales team or as part of the C-suite. There's a variety of ways to help integrate this role into the organization. So with I and Love and You, my role being on the marketing team, it's my job to take the insights, and every month I update a key performance indicators tracker to then articulate monthly consumption numbers to the entire company, where I do have now a Zoom call with everyone on my team to point out what's happening and what changes have happened in the last month. And from there, we have some really great discussion around why these changes are happening, what more we need to know, because we don't always know everything about why things are happening, and then what we can do about it. And I think those calls are really beneficial because it really gets everyone engaged across the organization. Now, from there, if there's conversations that are going deeper, I can schedule one-off meetings to make sure that I'm talking to those people in particular. And then another thing I like to do is make sure that my insights are then articulated in ways that people are going to use them. So for example, if I do an insight study that says, how we are gaining new shoppers, I make sure that those insights are easily translatable to be shared with our retail partners as well, so that the sales team can take and run with them and do what they need to do. At a C-suite level, we do meet and do board updates every month as well. And it is really just important to be part of that conversation so that you always have the background data or background insights to know what they're asking, because then you can continue to evolve what you're looking at from a data perspective to make sure that you're always getting ahead of the questions.
Yeah, that's always key, anticipating what they're going to be asking. And how are you identifying where the white space is?
What do you mean by white space?
Well, where opportunities lie, I guess, is I guess thinking about data, there's always a wealth of it, and how do you determine that these are the next locations to go into, or these are the new ingredients that are hot and coming up that we need to make sure we're putting into products? How do you use that data then to prioritize, maybe is the question.
You are looking at insights, you're always starting at the top level, right? You're looking at sales, and from there you dissect what's driving the sales. And from there you're dissecting what's driving those things that drive the sales. So it's really as you get deeper that you can start to get more and more nuance and make some long-term plans. And then how you prioritize is, one, what you think is going to be the biggest opportunity in terms of sales. We're all companies, we're all trying to grow, but also what's a good brand fit. You want to make sure that what you're doing next is part of your culture and fits in with what you're doing. So whether that's the ingredient that makes your product that much better, even if it's maybe not the decision that's going to result in the most dollars, but it does result in making sure that you're delivering on your brand promise, it's a good idea. So there's a lot of art and science, I guess I would say, into how you prioritize where you go next. But it is really important that your insights team is really integrated in the organization so that they know what the priorities are and they can constantly be learning more about those areas and therefore giving the right recommendations that are actionable and useful.
That's terrific. That's terrific. Thank you for that. You mentioned team. Are you a one-woman show, or do you have a team of folks that are helping you with this?
From an insights perspective, today I'm a one-woman show. I do have an open analyst role, so I'm hoping to build out the team here soon. And then that person I'm hoping will become a data rock star if they're not already, and will help me continue to grow and scale our organization.
Perfect, terrific. One more question on the data front. Utilizing your insights to help with retail pitches. How do you guys hone in on that? And are there any key metrics that you look for to include, if that's a question I can ask?
Of course. Yes, I think it's really important always first to understand the retailer. So whether that's first setting up a meeting to talk with your sales partner to say, what are this retailer's hot button issues? What are they always asking for? What are their key things that are keeping them up at night? And how can we be a solution for that? That's step one. If we're going into a new retailer and it's a new relationship, a lot of times it's more about teaching the new retailer who we are, what we stand for, why consumers and households are going to come and be attracted to us as a brand. And in that vein, I would say that showing how we've acquired households in the past, how we've grown over time, how our velocities during that growth have remained strong and strengthened over time, those are the metrics I would say are the most important. Velocity in particular, because as you grow distribution, if your velocities are still growing, that right there is proven success.
Terrific. Great. Thank you for that. One last question for you. It's one I always like to ask, is kind of a pay it forward type of a question. So are there things, you've obviously been at this a long time, are there some things that you know today that you wish you would have known a couple of years ago that we can share with maybe that new analyst who wants to be the next rock star?
I would say that I think it's easy to get intimidated by data, but data is a tool like any other tool. And so I would say my advice to anyone who's either new to their career or just further in their career but new to data, don't be intimidated by it. It's a tool that's just giving you guidance. So if you can learn to read the data and what direction it's pointing you in, you're going to go really far.
That's great advice. Thank you. And thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was great.